Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. So I noticed this last night and wanted to make a video about it this morning. Throne of Eldraine. These collector boxes, the original first collector box, somebody did well, I won't call it a big buyout. They did a buyout on it. And when I first saw this last night, there was only one box remaining in the market. It was this 390, sorry, 536 box. Man, have my dyslexia coming through right there. 536 box. And since then, somebody undercut him by a few cents, and then somebody put up a box way above that. But the interesting thing is, the market was so thin on these old Throne of Eldraine collector boxes that just 9 boxes yesterday and 3 boxes the day before, so simply 12 boxes getting bought in 2 days, cleared out the market. Now, obviously, two more additional boxes have come onto the market already. More will come on. This is the third time we've seen this kind of thing in about the last 6 months. There was one example of it back in February. I believe it was Doctor Who collector boxes. And then more recently, I believe it was Ravnica Remastered. Rudy had talked about how essentially they were underpriced and the market was thin, and a bunch of people went and bought a ton of them right after he talked about that. So this one looks to be a little more targeted and focused. It'll be interesting to see on something like a collector box that is much, much different than a buyout attempt on reserve list cards. So keep in mind, reserve list cards very rarely get destroyed. Yes, once in a while there's a house fire, once in a while there's a flood, once in a while someone dies and his heirs just throw the cards in the trash. But for the most part, the number of reserved list cards in the world stays relatively static and only very, very, very slowly trends downwards. But when you're talking about collector boxes, people destroy these things for fun. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with these kind of focused buyout attempts on something like a collector box, where the amount left in the world just keeps going down over time at a much greater rate than something like reserve list. So we'll look at this, we'll follow it like we did Doctor Who and Ravnica Remastered earlier in the year, but very interesting. And hey, a week ago, I sold these on a sealed sale to my patrons for as low as 273. So hey, if you bought them on there, congratulations on just about doubling your money in 1 week. So I got a few of those left. I'll throw them up on the monthly sales list sometime in the coming months. I'll probably wait a little while because the price of this is going to come down in the coming days as more people dig a few of these out of their closet in order to capture this very, very quick run up in the price. And you can see it right here. The market price is 307 and the lowest ask is 535. So that's always the indicator that the market is moving unbelievably fast. So in other news, Sealed Sale 24 will be tonight, Tuesday. It's going to be Phyrexia collector boxes, somewhere between 20 and 30, $35 per box off of the current market price. We'll see. And I will have factory sealed cases of that. I will be taking messages if you want more than one factory sealed case. I'd like for this sale not to blow out as quickly as my last two have. So initially, I will be limiting quantities to up to one factory sealed case of Phyrexia collector boxes. But if you would like more than one, I will have a message in there so that you can send me a note and say, hey, I want more than one. Put me on the waiting list for an extra case if they're left over, as we're getting 20 plus hours into the sale tomorrow. So that sale will start tonight, 8 p.m. Central, for the patrons over on Patreon. Sign up if you want in on that. I am still planning to keep doing 2 sales per week for the coming future, probably out for the next 2 months. And actually, later this morning, I'm going to go meet with the realtor and see the first retail spot to potentially put a card store in. So I'll try to record a little bit of footage. And then after I see some more of the other spaces in the coming days, coming week or so, splice some of that together and talk over it in a video about the locations. But Throne of Eldraine, a focused buyout attempt. Pretty interesting. I think this has a much better chance of being highly successful than the reserve list buyouts, again, because these are scarce collectibles that people destroy for fun. And for the most part, people don't go around ripping cursed scrolls in half to get a little bit of a laugh. So let's see what happens in the coming months. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Join the Patreon.